All right. Welcome everyone to the Morning Rush, the morning empowerment conversation for busy executives, heart center leaders causing the change we want to see in the world. And one of the changes that we're doing right now is I just signed up for the YouTube app and we are technically live on YouTube for maybe the first time ever for the Morning Rush. And I was watching a video from last week and because I'm in the office, sometimes I need to tone it down because I get really loud. Fortunately, in the morning, it's not as bad. Only our CFO is here, and he's pretty tolerant of some of my volume. But I realized how quiet I was in one of the morning rush conversations. It was like my energy was different. I was a little more subdued and using inside voice, but it felt contained. And I watched the video. And I said, that doesn't look like how I normally feel or communicate. And I was like, is that really how I'm showing up? So anyway, we're here today. It's The Cure. It's Friday. Are you in love? What are you in love with? And the topic today is the one thing. The one thing. I asked our internal team earlier this week, what's one thing that you think would make a difference in your performance or your impact within our business? Like, what's one thing that you could be supported with, or a tool you could use, or a new action you could take that would make the biggest difference? And then I said, what's one thing in our business that would be most valuable if we put that one thing in place, or we did that one thing, it would cause an impact? And the question today is, sometimes it's the one thing that we focus on, which is important. I think we talked about that previously about like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Like, why are they so successful? Is I heard this one time as a post, whether this is true or not, but it seemed reasonable to me, is they're so good each day at figuring out the top things that they need to move to make the impact that they want to make, to have their businesses be successful. They know what it is, and then they fulfill on it because they're clear on like what are the one thing or the three things that are most important, and then they focus 100% on those things rather than a lot of the things that can distract us moment to moment, day to day. So it might be for you, what's your one thing that's most important? The question is, are you doing that one thing, or are you squirrel like all over the place doing other things because they're exciting, they're appealing? And the one thing that I've decided I think is valuable for us to add into our business mix for the staffing business is to actually launch a regular conversation weekly podcast. And so we're going to host a conversation. We're going to invite guests. If anybody here wants to be a guest in future conversations, our first one today is going to be at 11 a.m. Access 360 is the platform where leaders, ideas, and conversations evolve. And so that's kind of our podcast that's being launched. In light of some of the Charlie Kirk things and just following Charlie Kirk and Patrick Bet-David, both of them had a daily podcast. Like they were building massive kinds of enterprises and followings and businesses and things, and yet they still were having a daily podcast about things that were relevant for, in some ways, business and current events and what they were up to. And they were inviting guests on and all this stuff. So I said, we do that every day on the Morning Rush. In some ways, it used to be a Monday through Friday daily conversation, and that just planted some seeds for me. So I see the value of inviting people to a thing. I see the value of creating content as we share here and multi-purpose and all that stuff. So that's Friday. Friday could be a day of like, ooh, the weekend's here. Let me take the foot off the gas. Or it might be, let's focus on that one thing and drive something home this Friday. Money Coach Chris, you were the first on the call today. I see Lisa's got a warm jacket on there. It must be getting cool where she is. But Money Coach Chris, what are you coming in with this morning? Any one thing or anything that's been sparked by the intro here?
Yes, actually, my one thing that I really should be focusing on is following up with people. I've been doing a lot of planning and creating and doing all the back end stuff, and I've been meeting a lot of people, and I realize I really haven't been following up very well. So I I've talked to a lot of people. Wednesday was at a Central Florida Business Expo. Yesterday, I was at a young authors writing conference, and I'll be going back there today to speak. So, I've been doing a lot of speaking and behind the scenes things. Now I need to follow up and meet with people to really get the word out of what I'm doing.
You're hitting a chord here because I went to an event last weekend and it's on my to-do list, but I have multiple texts with new people that I have not necessarily followed up on. And here we are. Here we are. Here we go. So yeah, it's invaluable. And then to have a system in place and a process in place and be able to make sure that all of that is integrated. What do we think? Do we think on YouTube, Money Coach Chris, do we want it to be gallery view or speaker view? Because I just realized I can change that. And then when we're on YouTube, either it's the person speaking or we see everybody who's on camera. I think speaker view is probably a good one to go with. What do you think?
I think I think speaker view is great because then you can really focus on who's talking at that time.
Brilliant. All right. Decision made, breaking new ground, focusing on maybe the one thing. Lisa Mosby, what do you got? You got the coat on. It seems a little chillier where you are.
Cold.
How are things?
Yes, I'm just wrapping up a 5-day conference. I'm in Plymouth, Minnesota, and it was like I got out here at 6 a.m. every morning, and it's in the 50s. It's like freezing for me. But anyway, my one thing, it's get paid. Bottom line is get paid. Follow up causes you to get paid. It's always about getting paid. And then I think what's coming to mind is I'm like super proud because I finally got the website is coming together. Not all the buttons work, but I'm getting paid doing things that I like to do, and I'm paying people to do the things that they're better at than I am. And so it's worth every single penny. I hated to put that much money into investing in those things. And I think we all sometimes want a penny pinch, but it's the structure of my business. They set up 2 membership accounts. I can start getting paid. I can show up and do podcasting. I can show up and facilitate workshops and get paid and let other people put those things in place. So I think bottom line, the reason we're entrepreneurs is we want the freedom and we want to get paid. So how do you get paid in your business? It's not just about networking. It's not just about following up. What's the ultimate goal when you have those conversations? That's what's coming up in my mind. And even though here I'm at this conference and I'm working for another company facilitating for them, but I'm showing up as, hey, I'm a podcaster, I'm an author, and people are taking my card. They want to do business with me. I have people that I can follow up with. And ultimately, like I go straight to, how can I be be of service? Would you like to read about traveling? Do you want to book a travel? Do you want to book a trip? Do you want to read a book? Going right to that question that leads them into me getting paid. So I think we had over 4,000 people come to this event. And so I got to practice on how do I want to show up. So that's my one thing, focusing better on that and letting other people do the things they're good at, stay in my own lane.
Ooh, I like that. Letting other people do the other things, stay in our lane and get paid. I think getting paid is, the equivalent of like, is there an appropriate exchange of value? We provide a lot of value out there into the marketplace, and are we, properly priced? And then asking for the business too. I was talking to somebody recently. I've shared this story a couple of times where they work on fundraising for nonprofit organizations, and as she goes in and consults with nonprofit organizations, she looks at how they fundraise. And one, is it clear what their mission and what they do? Is that clear in their communication? Do they present it in a really powerful way? And then do they actually ask for people to contribute? And when she worked with one organization and one leader who was leading their annual event, she changed and had them really get clear on what's our message, how do we deliver it, and do we ask for actually people to contribute? And a woman who usually gave annually $500 at the end of the presentation walked up and handed the founder a $50,000 check. But it was, and then she asked her, like, why 50,000 this year? She's like, I didn't really know what you guys did. I just thought, you guys were doing cool stuff. So I was on the annual $500 thing. She's like, well, now that I know what you're doing, like, I'm all in. But that sometimes is a lesson, I think, for all of us, is like, are we clear on what we do? Do we share it well? And then do we just say, hey, do you want to do a thing together? Do you want to do business together? Here's my pricing. Are you interested in having that conversation? Because sometimes we don't even present it, and then we don't ask, and then we don't know. So good stuff, Lisa. Let's stay in our lane. Let's get paid, and let's bring a ton of value to people. Thorin, hand raised. You were provoked earlier. How are you?
I'm well this morning, sir, and chasing chickens, so a little distracted. That's why I'm off camera at this moment. But I'm glad I let you speak because I got a question for you, sir. Can you put me in contact with that lady? Because I would love to talk to her, right? Just to have a conversation. Because it is a very pivotal time for this nonprofit that I am running here. I've literally given myself a time frame till January to figure it out. That's my go, no go date. And I'm firm on that, so that I can do the things that we're talking about right now, and even for the nonprofit, right? But because I'm so focused on building the nonprofit, being successful with our mission, telling the story, crafting it, and doing those things, that I'm always just in the contemplation phase for all the other personal growth and development aspects that I want to achieve. And I was talking to Janine just yesterday, and I'm so tired of my Thursdays becoming planning Thursdays when those Thursdays are supposed to be Thursdays for me to actually generate revenue. So the one thing for me, and I believe it is a common theme, is implementation, right? Just get started, do the damn thing, right? Like sell the t-shirts, do the audios, right? Like just do it. That's the way we get paid, right, Lisa? Like nobody's going to pay me for voice work if I don't audition. Nobody's going to go buy a t-shirt if I don't attempt to sell them, right? Nobody's going to buy Money Coach Chris's books if she doesn't continue to put those videos out on TikTok and push the things. You're doing awesome. I saw that, and thank you for finding me. I didn't even know how to find me on TikTok. That's amazing. My sister created the account because I gave her my phone. I didn't even know I had it till I was scrolling one day, and I was like, "What the hell? I'm scrolling through TikTok. How? How is this possible?" Right? So these are all amazing things. And I believe that is my one thing. So thank you for your share, sir.
I didn't even know Money Coach was on TikTok producing content, sending things out there. So that's exciting. So revelation, things are revealed all the time inside of this communication. And Thorin, that's actually, great that you said that, because I've been meaning to reach out to that woman just to check in, and I can say, hey, would you be willing to have a conversation with one of my people who would love a connection with you. So there you go. You never know. You never know when you share a thing about the things that are important, what kind of openings that can create. I just realized something about YouTube Live as well. If the person is not on camera, the audio will be heard, but there will be no video, and it'll just be back on the prior person's video screen. So anyway, that's just an FYI as we're learning about the first YouTube Live of the Morning Rush. So be aware. And that's that. Lisa, you came off mute. Did you have something?
Can you pin the people? That's what I usually do when I do my podcast. If I have other guests on there, I just pin the two speakers, me asking the questions and the person I'm interviewing. And that works well. But I'm using that on Zoom, not on YouTube. So I'm not sure if you can do that on YouTube.
Well, I think what happens on YouTube is it won't bring up somebody's avatar unless they're on video, is how I'm seeing it play out. So yeah, it'll bring you up as you're speaking if you're on video, but if like Thorin's not on video, it'll just be audio and whatever other video was on prior is how it seems to be. Yeah. So I don't know. I can next time someone off video is speaking, I can pin them and see if that actually is a solution. That's good to know. Brilliant. Anyone else want to come into the mix here this morning? We got Sarah, Janine, Tim. Should we do a little round robin? What else do people have to share? Maybe we're ready to wrap up for the day.
I'm looking for podcast guests. You mentioned podcasting. And so I'm doing the whole month of October. I'm talking about grieving and gratitude, that time we get to spend with someone before they pass. And I was fortunate enough to interview Jeremy and from our group, and also Ben Curtis, about both losing their fathers. And then I have 3 more slots that I'm trying to fill. I want to talk about that all month. So if anybody knows of someone who might be a death doula or would like to share their experience around death and how they experience that with a loved one, I would love an introduction if you know of them.
All right. I'm happy. I
Ooh.
actually probably would be therapeutic and for me because I lost my mom at 15 and I lost my dad 6 years ago. So I've got different angles on that. But I know I've been on your podcast, but if that's an
Doesn't
open,
matter. Yep. I would love
yeah.
to have you. Done. Check.
All
We'll
right.
figure out a day when we can record it.
There it is. Doran's on camera.
Ooh.
Doran, you got something for us on camera?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I say umi, umi, Lisa, umi, umi. Right. And I was just talking to one of my friends and my sister about it just yesterday. We're getting older, right? As we age, that generation before us is constantly going to, age out. Our friends are going to go, right? And I was just talking to a young dude the other day, and he was talking about how he wishes he can go early, right? Because he said young G's die early. I'm like, bro, do you know how much of a privilege it is to become an elder?
Yeah.
Like you have no idea the beauty you're missing out on. So I would love to have that conversation with you.
Thank you. Done. Check, check. We have 2 more. Thank you so much. I'll reach out and we'll get it scheduled. We'll pick a date for you guys.
Look at that. Love it. Sometimes that's what it is. And I think, Thorin said it earlier, and I have RPA in my head, revenue producing activities, but sometimes it's just activity. Stop the thinking, the overthinking. The phrase 80% done is 100% awesome is like just a reminder. It doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes we get ready to do something versus just go out and take your first step. And then, you might not get it right. It's something that's on my heart recently. I did a video this morning as a result of a conversation yesterday, but in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk, I was asking some of the folks, the guys that I have a weekly conversation about God and Bible study about. I said, like, it's great to be in awe. It's great to be like, oh, this is awesome. What's happening? If that's your perspective on things, the next question is what are we going to do? What is David going to do? What is Tim going to do? Another Tim, not Tim here. What is Dan going to do? What are we going to do collectively? Or are we just going to be here and say, oh, this is good stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I think there's a call. And most times when there's a call, there's an action. It's like, oh, I feel pulled to do this thing. And then I was reflecting on, just looking at some of Charlie's earlier videos. Not like the most polished, not, he went to his first thing was, I think, at University of Wisconsin. He took a table and he put up a sign and that was it. And then it became something because he did it regularly. He figured out like his own way and how to communicate more effectively, how to deal with all these different conversations, all the different things that were presenting him. It was because he kept doing it consistently. We rise in our abilities as we lean in more and more. And I think that's something that was my video, is a lot of times we have, oh, this is like such a good idea. And then it's a year later, 5 years later, and we didn't do anything about it. So that's my call on everyone here today. If there's an idea, like what's the action? How do we apply what it is that we're awakening to? Because otherwise it becomes 5 years later and you're like, oh, that would have been a good thing to do, but oh well. Money Coach.
So talking about action, and following up and all that, a lot of you know, I wrote and published a book for adults called Rewired for Wealth. I also, before that, had written a whole children's series about money and had the first book illustrated thanks to a connection from Lisa. And I was thinking that, okay, well, these children's books are going to be so impactful. I need to find a publisher because I also have like the characters could be stuffed animals and all these things. Well, at the Young Authors conference yesterday, I met a couple who wrote and published, self-published children's books with stuffed animals. And so I got connected with how do they do that? What companies do they use? And all of those wonderful things. And it just gave me like the power to say, okay, well, I can do this myself. And yes, it might be an investment, but then I won't have some other publishing company tell me what I have to do. Because that's the thing I hear, like publishers will make you change things or, make it their own, I guess. So action with that going into the next phase of, okay, I'm ready now to finally publish the children's books. And it's exciting. So it's on me to do the action, to go and follow up and make sure I have everything done. So I'm excited about that.
That's it. That's it. And so is it, what are the next actions, or what should we be aware of?
So my next actions is getting in contact with the toy company that makes these stuffed animals for them to see what that cost looks like, because that's how I do my research. Well, what is it? How much will it cost? I also have a toy, so it's characters and then a toy. Obviously, it's around money, so I have things that all kind of include that. And I spent last night kind of rewriting some of the books to add some more things into it. So my next action is to contact the toy company, see what that looks like. But I have everything set up already for publishing because I did that with my first book. So I know what to do. I need to do it.
Yeah, love it. I think that's something also that's cool. And sometimes I've seen it in my past is ideas, but then you don't want to look bad, or you don't want to mess up. And I'm realizing the more you're willing over and over and over again to just like do it imperfectly, but know that you're going to figure it out. That's a lot of times the resilience of entrepreneurship or business building is, yeah, like knowing that you're not going to get it right, but in order to get to the finish line you're targeting, you're going to have to mess up. You're going to have to deal with failure, and in the spiritual world, you're gonna get attacks, because of your views and your viewpoints and things like that. But that's where the willingness, I think, is the courage to lean in. Thorin, over to you.
As Money Coach Chris was talking, the engineering mind of Thorin popped up, right, about what your next step possibly could look like. So I wanted to offer that, if that's okay. So I watched my daughter do a lot of things. She's got this artistic ability that I just absolutely adore. And she's also got a great engineering mind. I've known that since she was young. She can recreate objects, shapes, and things immaculately. So when she wants to do something, like when she sees a new toy that she likes, like these Fuglies that are out there, right? She says, Dad, I'm going to make some for my friends. So we go to the store. She buys the stuff. She comes home. She chops it up after watching a couple videos. Boom, she's got a couple of Fuglies. The engineering mind, that's, I see a concept, I make a prototype it, right? Sure, you can get cost averages and do all those things, but for the sake of action, prototype it. Go to the store, get a toy, get some shit, put it on there, paint it, you know what I mean? Find a friend who's cool, make one, see what it looks like, right? Then you have something tangible in your hand, even if you don't use it. It could be now a token, right? You sit, you look at it, you have something to adjust. These are the things that I watch her do, right? And I'm actually going to take a little bit of that aspect for myself today. So thank you for your share, and thank you for your listening.
Love it. Love it. I think these are the beautiful things that happens when we just kind of popcorn ping pong all around this conversation is we open up new ideas. There's an evolution. That's the subtitle of the pod. I think whoever joined later, we're launching Access 360 podcast, and it's leaders, ideas, and conversations evolve. And I think there's an evolution when you have conversations and you bring great people together that are sharing ideas, and you never know what's going to be popping up for you in a conversation when you hear it in another. And I think that's the value of mastermind as well, as we all are on our own journeys, but collectively there's a lot of wisdom that we pick up from one another as we do lean in. And I may hear something in what Thorin's saying that somebody else may not, or you may hear something in what I'm saying that I may not even be aware of. And so that's how we all rise together. 8:27, we got 3 minutes until it's the formal half-hour end here. Anything else? Anyone else want to come in? Janine, I saw a few hearts. I don't know if you guys are working out or doing some other things, or anyone else wants to come in before we... There she is. What do you got today, Janine? Anything? You want to throw something in the mix here?
Well, it's interesting because in and being the devil's advocate of having so many things and just creating these bigger foundations, I am still out to cause myself to find these champions of these different industries. And I say that with an open heart because I am recognizing that it is very easy to niche it, but there's just this thing, David, that keeps pulling to me to find someone who is in the pursuit of law, someone who's in the pursuit of agriculture, someone who's in the pursuit of child development. And so as I'm honing in and finding these champions, me and Daniel are getting ready because after we just had Talk to Me Day on September 13th, this international just sister of mine, she is someone who works in creating community spaces for content creators. And in our connection next Saturday, I am holding a pasta party for her. And so as we're doing these organically just fun activities, I don't know where it's being led, but yeah, we're just redoing our apartment right now. And I'm really grateful that, thank you so much, Thor. And yeah, yesterday's conversation was just like awe-inspiring. Like as not just he had mentioned like his Thursdays, like it's funny that Thursdays for me as my friend, by next week, we were joking, she should be having her second child. And every Thursday we have been spending time together, not because it's easy, because we see it's worth it. And just I'm in this working space right now of where is it that these children that not only are coming into the world, but like it was mentioned on this call, like they are the inspiration for me in so many ways, that I get that this world that I was given had some places and spaces that people were like, that's shadowy, that's dark, don't go in there. And so I love that Lisa Mosby had just brought so much light around where is it that maybe your grief can be the grounding that someone can hear on their sounding board that they didn't have until they hear you break through it. And then MCK, oh my gosh, I love how brilliant you are. And like, I want to do it my way, but I'm going to find a publisher. And then God just puts this beautiful couple in your life. You're like, yeah, like I'm going to follow God's way. I do get to be a champion of it. And then thank you, D Rush, for your place of where I think you called it 3-axis. I know it's the very beginning of this, but just always giving people an opportunity to lean in. Maybe it's not always their voice, but we're always reflections of where we're adapting, where we're allowing access, and where we're opened in our mind, because maybe there's something in our body that just feels there's something that wants to be earthed, rocked, watered, seeded, however it is. I'm using another garden analogy. Thorne, I'm tapping into you. And I love that as we continue to become the best versions of ourselves, there's no short unless you realize it is the overtime. That is right, champions. We may be ending early today, but as we know, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 30 minutes in, 30 minutes, maybe longer, but we give ourselves the opportunity to continue to be heart-led in the centers of life that we continue to invest in. We continue to give insight, and we continue to go a little bit further in sometimes what makes us stronger than we could have ever imagined. And today it is no different. However it is, we wish you well, and we look forward to seeing what comes in next Monday's Morning Rush community as we are about to go into 3, 2, 1 overtime. And so, yeah, I'm really taking away that today everyone is really stepping more into where they know they create a difference. And yes, it may make a lot more work, but it's going to have so much of where you are in your worthwhile life. And so back to you, D-Rush. I'm looking forward for this pasta party next Saturday.
Amazing. Amazing.
I gotta run. I have a client here, so we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Good to see you, Lisa. We can wrap this up, but one other thing too is just to, I'm doing a lot of the like LinkedIn outreach, meeting new people, and this is a place you can invite people to, even if they want to be like a speaker or share their wisdom. So not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, I think her name is Lisa. I met somebody who I said, yeah, come share some wisdom with us. She has some other stuff that she offers. And I think it's an opportunity for all of us to invite other voices into the space and share other wisdom. And you never know who's going to connect with who's going to say, I need to talk to a fundraiser, who then connects with the fundraiser, and things go in all different directions. Or money coach Chris says she needs an illustrator, and Lisa Mosby, throws her one, and then now there's a children's book that's impacting lives. We don't know the ripple effect of what all of us collectively can do who are here, and then who's just waiting for the invite to come in and cause all kinds of impact with us, for us, around us, all different things. So leave those windows open, those doors, invite people in, and also be bold. That's the message I have too. We talked about action. Be bold in action. Be courageous. Know that it's It's not going to be perfect, but when we start taking more actions, we get a little bit better at taking them, and cool things can happen. But if we're sitting on the couch watching Netflix, not much is happening. All right, everyone, have a good, beautiful, blessed day.